Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Well, guys, I am incredibly sorry that this video is coming out at this time, because Fear Fallacy came out in early April, and it's only now that I'm making a very rushed audiobook. Listen, my personal life has gotten crazy and wild and everything, so, it's been a big distraction, but I love making art. I love making creative writing and all of this. And I'm going to be making so many more videos of creative writing and stories that I make. I already have one in the works. The story's already done, and I'm very proud of it. So I want to make a audiobook, but this time I'm actually going to physically read it to you. Anyway, welcome to Fear Fallacy. So just sit back, grab a cup of coffee or an iced tea, and grab some chips and sit down. I really hope you like it. And make sure to put your opinion in the comments. All right, enjoy.
Please, please don't kill me. As tears stream down her face smudging her heavy makeup, she pleads for her life while a hulking figure wearing a black trench coat and wasp-like mask corners her. The yellow latex mask with painted black detailing is pristine, a bright yellow hue almost glowing with life. The mandibles and antennae move as if the mask is alive. Her back presses up against the beige wall, her legs buckle and she falls onto the monochromatic beige carpet. The figure's axe swings down onto her leg, severing it instantly with a nauseating crunch. Blood gushes from her wound as she releases a blood-curdling scream that startles those who hear it. Her vision begins to swirl and fade as she struggles to stay conscious, blood constantly gushing out of her severed artery, but the figure isn't finished with her yet. It raises its axe and slices through her other leg with an unsettling ease. She screams once again, this one much more raspy and withered than the last. The figure raises its axe and she lets out one concluding whispered scream as the figure puts her life to an end with one final swing of his axe. My heart is pounding in my chest as I watch this unfold. I critique her form as usual. Don't beg for your life, the murderer never listens. Don't corner yourself, that's a rookie mistake. My fair skin sticks to the leather seat as cool air rushes through my curled hair, the deep red scrunchie keeping it from getting in the way of my viewing experience. The dark theater is as quiet as a graveyard, the pleasant smell of fresh popcorn filling my nostrils with delight, but the silence is interrupted swiftly and without warning. Ha, what a dumbass. My friend's voice startles me. Oh, stop, Jeremy, she did her best. He looks dumbfounded at this remark. Patricia, she did the worst thing when it comes to horror movies, corner herself. Plus her makeup looks terrible. Patricia gasps in disbelief, her makeup is done up just like mine, you jerk. She huffs, as their voices are drowned out by the sounds of crunching popcorn in my ear. Oh hick, that's not good. He stands atop a flight of stairs as the trench-coated figure slowly approaches. His intoxicated state causes his strides to be unsteady and uncoordinated. His brown hair drenched in sweat, perspiration drips down his scalp and his hairline causing his forehead to glisten like a mirror gazing into the unknown. The figure's boots clomp on the wooden platform that leads to the steps, the sound of clomping comes to a halt as the figure looms over him. Gargantuan hands grab him by the neck, he produces gurgling sounds as he struggles to take a breath. The figure slams him into the ground, his head cracking against the floorboards, clear fluid seeps out of his ears and slowly drips onto the ground. He blinks, and starts to cough profusely. The figure's hands once again grab him by the neck, but this time he is thrown through the air, his limp body flailing about as he falls. His frame makes a thumping noise as he hits each step. A trail of blood is all that remains on the stairs as his lifeless corpse lay on the basement landing. This death was quite a bit more jarring than the last. His first mistake was getting drunk. Gloria chimes in, yeah, the idiot reminds me of Jeremy, can't stay sober for more than 5 minutes. She smiles and punches Jeremy, who sits behind our row. He looks at us and smiles sheepishly. What? I like to have a good time? Chad is sitting beside Jeremy. Come on guys, stop teasing Germ, we all like to have fun. Don't we? I nod in agreement without hesitation, just looking at Chad is enough to make me blush. If that was me in that situation, I'd just beat the killer into submission. Chad starts punching the air and we all start to laugh uncontrollably. I try to refocus back to the movie, but by the time it reacquires my attention, the film has almost come to a close. A door slams open, she sprints into the room, her curly hair bobbing up and down as she tries to settle her breathing. The room is a monochromatic beige, a bright orange bedspread adds a splash of color to the otherwise dull room. She dives under the bed, her left leg hitting the bed's metal frame, causing an ugly purple bruise to begin to form on the site of impact. She cowers in fear as the figure, now without its mask, stands in the doorway. Its left eye is sewn shut and oozing neon green pus as its bloodied brown boots inch ever closer to the bed where she hides. She finds a ray of light in this dark situation, a gleaming bronze-coated shotgun, with 2 rusted barrels, and a grip made of stained birch wood. She opens the shotgun's chamber and 2 pristine silver bullets lay in wait. She breathes a sigh of relief as she has found her saving grace. She angles herself so that the gun is poking out from underneath the bed and shoots towards the figure. The bullet misses the figure entirely, as if done intentionally. The shell pierces the room's ceiling and leaves a flurry of cracks in its wake. The figure laughs as humongous hands grab the metal frame, lifting the bed off the ground slightly, making a shrill creak and a series of deafening scraping noises as the figure drags one of the legs into position. The figure lets go and the leg pierces her chest. Wheezing noises escape her lips as her lungs and heart have been pierced by the metal leg. Blood oozes from her pale lips as the figure stands there, grinning like a Cheshire cat. As the credits roll, I finish my critiques. Well, first of all, she missed her shot. Second of all, Jeremy cuts me off. I'm sorry babe, but her makeup was trash. It seems like Patricia and Jeremy are arguing about the comments made earlier. So you think my makeup is trash? She looks at him with conviction and he smiles. Sometimes it can be a bit much babe. The entire group begins to howl as laughter emanates through the almost empty theater. But Patricia isn't amused, she pouts, and Jeremy sighs. I know what will cheer you up. Why don't I rent a cabin in the middle of nowhere and buy a keg or 2? Maybe I'll even throw in some joints. How does that sound? Patricia smiles meekly. I guess I'll forgive you. I change the subject in a hurry. Man, I would have thought that William wouldn't have followed so many tropes. This remark gets no response as the group walks out of the theater and into the snowy veil that awaits outside. I met the director a few years ago because my Aunt Gloria was an actress in the film. After hearing William speak so highly of his film, it shocked me when I found out how many tropes he was following. The stench of marijuana is enough to make even the most hardcore stoners pass out. The blaring music is almost unintelligible as the bass reverberates off the walls and the drums shake our lungs violently. The cottage is nothing special. It is fully furnished, with the only exception being that the oven is missing, and where it would be there is a dried-up remnant of a blackened puddle. The beige walls and beige carpets make the interior very uninteresting to look at, except for the pitch-scorch marks that plague the carpet, which mostly congregate near the kitchen. The downstairs couch is covered in dark red stains. We joke that the person who lives here must like a glass of red. All I want to do is have a little fun before I die. We sing along to the music blaring. Jeremy is drunk enough to the point where he is unable to walk in a straight line and is in a constant state of slurring his words. He runs to the stairs in a hurry. Gotta puke, hic hee hee, puke. Patricia is stoned out of her mind, sitting on the stained couch and staring off into space. Gloria, Chad, and I however have stayed sober and have been enjoying the music and having fun. Suddenly a loud grinding sound starts to beckon from behind the cottage. The lights start to destabilize. At first, it only flickers once, but the flickering becomes constant, strobing every 3 seconds. The music's deafening volume starts to dissolve into nothingness, unable to be revived. We are left in silence as the clomping of boots reverberates throughout the cottage. A looming figure wearing a black trench coat and a wasp-like mask slowly walks down the stairs leading to the upper floor, boots quietly clomping on each step and covering them in grime. The figure is holding an axe that is covered in dried dark red patches. Its mask is extremely old and covered with stains of some kind. The color of the mask is fading and the latex has started to come apart in some places. the mandibles and antenna are completely still and the left antenna has been torn and is laying limp, barely holding on. The figure reaches the bottom step and stares at me, the bug eyes of its mask drilling fear into my heart. I hear a shrill shriek as Chad sprints out of the room and into the basement. The figure's attention suddenly turns to Patricia, who is staring at the ceiling in amazement. The figure steps closer to Patricia, but the sudden clomp of boots diverts her attention. Her eyes widen as she screams, running into the bathroom and locking the door. The figure follows closely behind her. She slams the door and the figure stands there comatose for a minute until raising his axe. Gloria and I run towards the stairs where the figure emerged and stick together. My mind is racing, but Gloria snaps me out of it. Our only goal is to stay calm and stick together. We start to hear loud cracks coming from the bathroom door, sounds of splinting wood followed by loud siren-like screams. We are running through a minotaur's labyrinth. The sounds of constant screaming suddenly come to an abrupt end as the faint clomping of boots starts to move towards us. We run to the end of the hall and Jeremy is there pulling up his pants. He cannot stand very well, but the vomiting has made him more aware. He stares at us in disbelief. Guys? You okay? We stop running and try to catch our breath while explaining the situation as best we can. A murderer is in the cottage and is chasing after us. He laughs, but our stone-cold faces must have shocked him. Okay, since you look serious, I'll trust. What are we gonna do? Just then the clomping paused. I look behind me and see the figure looming in the hallway. I hear Gloria scream as I stand in a trance staring at the figure. Jeremy grabs my face and says, Bella, snap out of it, we gotta go. I turn around and see that Gloria has disappeared. A feeling of dread washes over me like a cold shower as I've been orphaned. As I begin to run further down the hall, Jeremy collapses onto the floor giggling as the weed he had smoked earlier begins to take effect. I start to cry, tears flowing down my face as I abandon my friend. I find a closet embedded in the corridor. I barely fit inside, but it's enough to keep me safe for now. I peek out of the door's crevice to see what fate befalls my friend. The figure looks at him for a moment, tilting his head curiously. Jeremy begins to convulse. A constant state of seizing befalls my friend as he becomes pale and his body goes limp, but I can see he is still breathing. I silently cry, knowing that I can't save him and that he is at the mercy of the figure. It grabs him with colossal hands, his head being slowly squeezed with great force, blood seeping out of Jeremy's ears as if juicing an orange. Jeremy's head bursts like a bloody balloon, brain matter and bone fragments drip and slop off of the figure's hands. The figure uprights and walks towards the closet, my heart thumping rapidly as he approaches, matching the rhythm of his clomping boots. It passes by my closet without so much as a glance and continues its trek down the hall. After a while I hear a scream that was loud enough to burst one's eardrums, followed by a loud crunching sound concluded with a series of quiet splats and the sound of smacking lips. I know that now is my chance to escape the closet and reconvene with Chad. I open the closet door with a startling squeaking sound and run back down the hallway, back down the stairs, and down into the dark and dingy basement. I enter the basement. The dark gray wall tiles are moist with mass buildups of mold and mildew, the concrete floor is spotless, and there is a single light in the middle of the room that is hanging from the ceiling. The focal point of the basement is a giant, black furnace, its gaping mouth used to consume fuel and let the flames escape. The smokestack has been sliced open and a massive hole has been punctured inside of it. This allows a thick layer of black smoke to obscure the ceiling. The subtle crackle of the furnace's low flames overpowers the sounds of Chad's tears. Chad is sitting huddled in the corner of the room, whimpering and shaking like a lost puppy. I want to approach him, but my legs don't allow me to. I know it's for the best to not approach him and instead quietly crouch behind the furnace, being careful not to touch its searing metal frame. The figure marches down the stairs, the clomping of his boots melding with the sounds of the crackling fire. Chad stops weeping and turns around to see the figure heading towards him. He begins to hyperventilate as he calls out to the figure, "Please. Spare me. I beg of you." He is curled up into a ball in the corner. His body looks small and disheveled beside the figure's hulking physique. Its long and snake-like fingers wrap around Chad's facial features, 2 fingers wrapping around his head, 1 finger hooked onto the roof of his mouth, and 2 fingers clamping down on his nostrils. Chad tries to plead for his life, but when he tries, the figure slithers his finger further down his mouth, choking him even further. The figure effortlessly picks Chad and his football player physique off the pristine concrete floor and walks toward the scalding metal furnace. I sneak around to the corner where Chad was sitting before to get closer to the exit, but before I can leave I see the figure opening the furnace's metal door, the searing metal door sizzling on its skin as the figure's hand touches the metal door. The figure is badly burnt but doesn't even seem to flinch. The door opens and the fire begins to pounce at the figure from the newly created opening. The figure throws Chad into the flames. As he is led into the fires of Gehenna's gate, his helpless and unintelligible screaming accompanies the sight that beholds me. His glorious blonde hair is the first thing to go, his eyes closely follow and begin melting out of their socket as his skin is scorched to a Kruger-like state. The flames grow more vicious as the fuel is consumed to its fullest extent. Black smoke starts pouring out into the room, creating a black haze that is impossible to see through. As I hear the furnace's door squeak and slam, I escape the basement and head back into the living room where this whole mess started. I pray that this is all a dream and that my friends haven't just died in front of me. I feel my sanity slipping away as the clomping of boots gets louder in my ear. The figure reaches the living room and stares at me. It speaks. "So Bella, did you enjoy the show?" I don't recognize this voice, but its haunting raspiness combined with its deep underbelly makes it jarring to listen to. I respond, "Not particularly." "Who are you?" The figure puts its hands behind its mask and begins to fiddle around with it. "I'm a little offended that you didn't recognize me, my dear. You used to love visiting me during the time I knew your aunt." Memories of Aunt Gloria run through my mind as the figure removes his mask and throws it onto the floor. The mask hits the ground and slumps in a dejected manner, its antennae lay limp in a supposed sorrow. The face that is before me is an old decrepit man. Its face has cuts and gashes all over, sores are covering its nose, and pimples throughout its features spew pus. The figure's left eye is sewn shut, blood flowing out of it slowly and consistently like a waterfall. The figure's bloody mouth frowns like a Melpomene mask. "I really thought you might recognize my voice, so I wouldn't have to show you my face." I have a realization that hits me like a semi-truck. William Rain was the director of the movie that we had watched just hours prior. My eyes are open wide and my mouth hangs agape. "But you died last year, I saw it on the news." It begins to laugh, a laugh that mimics that of a banshee scream. "Oh, William did. He died last year, but I didn't." It brandishes its axe. "I am Murder Hornet, and I was born the year William died." It starts to advance closer to me, the clomps of his boots sounding more distorted as it takes each step. My mind is racing, but I'm able to muster up the courage and strength to run back up the stairs and maneuver through the winding hallways until I find a small room furnished with a single metal-framed bed, decorated with an orange bedspread. I dive under the bed, my leg hitting the bed's metal frame, and a gargantuan purple bruise begins to pulsate near the site of impact. I crawl further under the bed until my back is against the wall, but I feel something metal scrape my tender skin. A gleaming bronze shotgun, with 2 rusted barrels, and a grip made of stained birch wood. A Cheshire-like smile crawls its way across my face as I open the shotgun's chamber to find one pristine silver bullet, waiting patiently for me to give it orders. It walks into the room, the clomps of its boots are deafeningly loud. As it walks closer to the bed, my panting breaths get louder and louder as my time grows near. My smile is unrelenting. I stand up and lift the metal bed's frame and throw it on top of the figure. It struggles to get the bed off of it, and as it struggles I take aim with Beelzebub's gift. It finally gets the bed off of it, its eye widens as it says with venomous conviction that wasn't in the script. My smile widens as I ready my shot, and as I look into its eye, a thunderous booming sound emits. The figure drops to the ground once again, his weight being sprawled across the remains of what used to be a perfectly made bed. It's still alive. It looks at me with its eye, as my smile grows ever deeper. I brandish its own bloody axe, the axe that was used to kill my friends, the axe that was used to kill my best friend, the axe that was used to kill Chad, the axe that was used to kill me, or at least, a part of me. I swing the axe down, severing its leg with little effort, blood spewing from the split artery pools on the floor. I cup my hands and collect some blood. I drink the fruits of my labor, my tongue tickles as my thirst only grows. I need more. The mask calls to me from downstairs with an ethereal tone. I dare not disobey its call, taking it from its abandoned post and placing it upon my face, giving it new life. We are complete, and walk back into the bedroom to finish our business. With one final swing of our axe, we behead it. We take our prize to the kitchen, skipping with immense joy and satisfaction, put it in the microwave, and slam the door. 3:00. Each button beeps cheerfully as we prepare our dinner. We can't have this go to waste, now can we?